Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. In this one, I wanted to talk about what I've learned taking over 1,000 sales calls for my business. Yes, 1,000 sales calls. I know that sounds insane. I'm only 21. I've only been in business for 2.5 years properly, and yet I've taken over 1,000 sales calls, which is an average of I don't know how many a day. Somebody can do that math and put it in the comments. It's been a lot. It's a lot of sales calls. There's a lot of speaking with prospects. A lot of back and forth with people, figuring out if they're a good fit, and making them offers and bringing them in and all that kind of a thing. So I've got a lot of sales experience, and I just wanted to share with you what I've learned in that process. So a little bit about my business. I run a business that helps agency owners, coaches, consultants, people with a B2B offer of some kind scale their business to $1 million a year by implementing for them proven scaling processes like paid attraction methods or organic attraction methods to get clients, as well as helping them build offers that scale so that they don't get capped if they sell too many clients in a day, right? So that we can just deliver and deliver and deliver and nothing actually breaks. We help people get to 7 figures, but we also help beginners get to 6 figures, $100,000 a year. So we help beginners get started, or we help already experienced people scale way up. And that's what we do, and it's a lot of fun working with the sorts of clients that come our way either through YouTube or through Facebook or whatever it is. It's been a really, really fun project, and it's given me a life that I'm just so blessed by and couldn't imagine living, even just 2 years ago when I was broke, living at home with my parents. So it's been a lot of fun. But what have I learned taking over 1,000 sales calls? Well, there's a few things as I was pondering this video that I wanted to share with you that I've learned taking that many meetings, okay? And these are all sales principles that if all you do from this video is just take these principles and you just apply them to your sales calls, you should see an increase in your conversion rate, and you should see a good shift in your business. Now, if you do that and you enjoy those results, imagine what you could get actually working with myself and my team closely for us to implement these things into your business. If that excites you, schedule your call down below. You'll be one of the 1,000 plus that I've taken or my team has taken. We'll see if you're a good fit and get you in, all right? That being said, the first lesson that I've learned is this. It's either a yes or it's a no. And that sounds really simple, right? A lot of people think, obviously, it's a yes or a no. But let's really dig into what that means. When you're speaking with somebody and you know that you can help them, and you are 110% convinced that you can help them, your yes has more power. You've sold yourself, therefore it's easy to sell them, right? That's why we look for win-wins. We never do any pressure sales tactics. We don't force anybody to make decisions. We don't say, oh, you can't afford this. Okay, we'll chop it in half if you just get going. No desperation, nothing like that. It's just, look, I know where you're at. I know where you want to get. I know the steps that it takes in order for you to get there. How badly do you want to make that transformation? That's a completely different sale than, all right, so next week I'll send you a proposal over email, and we'll go back and forth for 6 months, and we'll see, if it's a good fit at that time. We'll have another follow-up meeting over coffee on Tuesday, and blah, 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 blah. No. It's not about this constant follow-up. A lot of people think relational selling, this is this idea that goes around a lot in sales, that relational selling means hanging out until you finally get a yes or finally get a no from somebody. And, that can work. It doesn't scale very well, but it can work. A better way of going about things is saying, look, I'm going to figure out what your problem is, why you can't reach the state that you want to reach in your life or your business, and if you are a good fit, make you an offer, and then it's up to you. And then you put the weight on the prospect. That is so much better than all this back and forth follow-up for years and years. Literally, I know people that are waiting on a deal. I follow this guy, and he's a brilliant businessman, by the way. He's made tens of millions of dollars, and I won't mention his name because I'm about to bash his sales process. But he develops these relationships with people for like 2-3 years, and it takes him forever to convert. And sure, he's made a lot of money, but on his podcast, he always talks about how he's just so stressed. Like, he'll go 6 months without making any money, and then finally a big check of 1.5 million comes in, and he's like, oh, finally, the weight's lifted, he's back to life again. And that's just such a crazy way of running a business, in my opinion. It's either a yes or a no. So your goal as the salesman, I don't even really like the phrase salesman because, what it reminds me of, honestly, it's Christmas season. I just watched Die Hard with my family, and it reminds me of that really sleazy sales dude that tries to negotiate with the terrorists and then gets shot. The guy that says, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, he says, it's not who I am, it's what I can do for you. That's what I think of when I think of salesmen. It's just sleazy, it's like no good, lying, scamming, cheating. That's what I think of when I think of salesmen. So that's the first thing. It's either a yes or a no. Your goal as the salesman, quote unquote, is to get to the core of somebody's problem. What's the core? What's really stopping them? And I know that I've got somebody and I've figured out what their problem is. When I see their smile come on, they're like, that's probably it. That's what's stopping us. And I see that kind of admittance. I see that they're like, all right, yep, that's it. If we could fix that, we'd be able to get to where we want to get. And that's when I make them the offer and I say, look, here's what it looks like. Here's how it works. Here's what we do. And if I can get to that point, I've got them, because I know what their problem is now. And now I'm just staring their problem in the face and they're staring their problem in the face, and we're both just looking at each other. It's this awkward pause of like, do you really want to solve the problem, or are you just wanting to sit with that and live with that for forever? And they say, no, I want to solve the problem, so let's go. So it's a yes or a no. Figure out their problem, get a yes or a no. If it's a no, all respect, shake hands, part ways, no worries, your offer wasn't good enough. If it's a yes, go all in with that client. It's completely binary. You're either all in or all out with a client. That's the first thing I've learned, okay? There's no back and forth, follow up over email, none of that. It wastes so much time. I remember back when I first started, consulting at any level, I was helping this Instagram influencer grow her online product business. She sold an online course and she had a small clothing brand. And I was helping her like scale these things and push these things, and she was paying me like $900 a month. And it was the first client that I'd ever worked with, and it took me 6 months to land that client because I refused to let her tell me where she was stuck. I thought I had the deal and I was just going to force, and I never really got to the core of her problem. I never let her tell me what her problem was or what she wanted. So that's the first point, either yes or no, and it's kind of already bleeding into the second point, which is let the client tell you what they need. There's no reason for you to do any more than 10% of the talking on a meeting. You should be asking questions that figure out where a client is, where they want to get, and why they can't bridge that gap themselves. And this is what we teach, by the way, inside of our programs. We've got the 6-figure program and the 7-figure program. It's called the 7-figure systems program. And in both of those programs, we teach people that in 20 to 30 minutes, you should be able to identify exactly where a client is, exactly where they want to get, and why they can't breach that gap themselves. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to scale your business the way that we're helping you. One of our clients, Luke Voigt, closed a $12,000 deal within 2 weeks of joining us after only having sold $1,500 a month contracts his entire career for the past 6 years. Okay, so he really thought he knew what he was doing. He joins us. We changed the game for him forever by helping him understand the Socratic selling method, which is ask questions, let your clients tell you what the problem is, and let them think it's their decision when, really you're just guiding them in the logical process that they're giving you. They're saying, I'm stuck here. You're like, all right, how do you want to, why are you stuck there? And they tell you why they're stuck there. How long have you been stuck there? Okay, got it. Why do you want to get out of being stuck there? And they tell you that. You should really only do 10 to 20% of the talking. So the principle number 1, it's either a yes or a no. Principle number 2, you shouldn't do any more than 10%, maybe 20% of the talking. You want to sell Socratically. The Socratic method. You teach by asking questions. You can sell by asking questions. Figure out where they're at. Figure out where they want to get. Figure out why they can't bridge that gap themselves. And you've got the sale. If you can do those things, you've got the sale, in my opinion. Forget, the typical sales methods, very scammy, very cheesy, methods where it talks about tonality and presentation and these things. Honestly, I've sold, $15,000 deals in this flannel on my laptop on my couch, right? Like you don't need to have all these crazy things that people talk about. You don't need to have a nice suit. You don't need to have nice business cards. You just need to understand where somebody's at in their business, where they want to get, and why they can't do it themselves, right? That's called point A, point B, and the gap. That's what we teach. It's how we teach it, right? And then the final thing is you want to control the frame. So one of the things that I noticed when I contrast the recordings of my first calls that I had, because I've recorded all of them, to my more recent calls, is that when I first got started, I'll tell you a bit about myself. I'll tell you a story about myself when I was 17 or 18. When I was 17 or 18, I was trying to start my business, trying to get things going, and I was kind of desperate for cash, and I just wanted something to work. I was so frustrated that I couldn't make the sales that I wanted to make, and things weren't working out the way I wanted them to work, right? So I would make all these crazy deals, and I would cut prices, and I would just get anyone in that I could get in. And I didn't really pick my clients. I just let anybody come in, right? And so when I contrast my old calls to my new calls, there's a couple big differences. First of all, I actually pick my clients. I say, look, you look like you need help, and I can see that these are the ways that you need help, and if we can help you in these ways, we can both tangibly see how you'd be able to reach this point, right? And they say yes, I say yes, then the deal happens, right? And the other thing, which is equally as important in my opinion, is that I control the frame of the call by when they first come on, whether you're coming from, it doesn't matter where somebody's coming from. If you shot them an email and they got on a call with you, if they came through a funnel, if they scheduled a call through your social profiles, LinkedIn, if you're running ads, whatever it is that you're doing, the first thing that should happen is you should say, all right, I'm ready to go. I can kick us off if you're ready. And they say, yep. And in that moment, you've got control over the call. And it's funny that I'm saying this because what's ironic is people are going to schedule calls and look for our help in growing their business, and they're going to see us doing the same things. And at first, people are always like, I see what you're doing. This is a tactic. But it's not a tactic. You're trying to open up the field so that the client can tell you where they're at. And you want to know where they're at, and you want to hear, and you want to listen to those things. And a lot of people might say, Trey, you're really hurting your business by telling people the tactics that you use to sell in a video where the call to action is to book a call with your team to see if they can help you. But in my opinion, the core underlying principle that underlies all sales is very simple. It's human. If I can see that somebody is not happy with where they're at in their business and they want a better spot in their business, they want to elevate to a better place, and their gap is big enough and intimidating enough and it's frustrating, they've been at it for a while and they can't, or they have a limiting belief and they feel like they can't do it themselves, whatever it is, that's where the offer comes in. I don't care if you know what I'm doing or not. I don't care if you know what my team is doing or not. This is another thing that I think is really important to convey about sales, is that it's human. There are no secrets. There are no tactics at the end of the day to being the type of person that can solve somebody's problem. Because at the end of the day, you're not selling anything. You are getting somebody to make a decision with themselves. It's not you versus the prospect. It's the prospect versus themselves. And you're trying to get the prospect to understand that if they don't get help, they're not going to solve this problem, which is a very logical thing. There's nothing under the cover there. There's no lies. There's no deception. It's just truth. If you are stuck and you refuse to get help, you're not going to solve the problem. And so those are some of the things that I've learned over 1,000 sales calls in my business, whether it's consulting clients, whether it's working with clients through my agency, my marketing agency that I had, or whether it's helping people grow their own agencies or their own consulting businesses. Again, we've helped 2 people become $1 million a year earners with tons of people trailing them. We've helped over 400 business owners at this point inside of our programs with very few negative reviews. And I love what I do, and I love getting to help people. If you want help growing your business, take the leap. We're moving into 2021 now. If you want to make 2021 an incredible year, just schedule a call down below. Fill out the form in full. Don't give us short answers. Let us know where you're at. We take this as seriously as you take it, because it is your business, it is your well-being, and it's your ability to provide for your family if that's the case, or your ability to live the lifestyle that you want. Whatever it is that you're trying to do with your business, we're going to try to do that with you, and we're going to help you grow and get it to that next level. We've done that with so many people. If you want some interviews with some people we've helped, links in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.